Picture this. You're on vacation, having the best time of your life. You're on the beach in Tobago, you're on a train in New York, you're even in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. And it's selfie after selfie, picture after picture, location after location. Then you return home, only to find your house ransacked, your emergency fund missing, and your precious jewelry gone. As you stand there frustrated and confused, you ask yourself, did I share too much? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another episode of the Socially Safe Podcast, the TTPS podcast, where we share real stories, teach real lessons, and create real impact. I'm excited to welcome back my co-host today, Sergeant Marvin Walker and Corporal Javon George. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing?
We are fine here in the physical and digital space.
Okay.
All the same with me, all the same.
You know, the last episode created quite a buzz, and lots of people are interested in how can they protect themselves in the digital space when they're transacting, doing business. And we have so many things to talk about, but in this episode, I definitely want to focus on how much we share on social media. As a content creator myself, this is of particular importance to me. And we are always hearing cases of, abroad at the very least, where people may share stuff and then they might have some sort of outcome that they didn't like. And I know you guys always have a treasure trove of cases to share. Has there been anything recently that has come across your desk where you may have seen something where somebody may have shared something or shared too much and gotten themselves in a bit of trouble?
In our interaction with the Special Victims Department of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, there have been cases where young persons have shared too much online, a little too much about their lives, too much about themselves in terms of how they think and so forth, and persons have exploited that, and it has resulted into cases and so forth in terms of sexual grooming and stuff like that,
Wow. Because I know you mentioned before we started talking here, you mentioned there was a story of a young girl, right?
Yeah, and that's what happened. So she, the cliche thing with somebody slipping into a DM.
Right.
And because of what she was sharing and probably not even initially speaking about her age.
Right.
So
she was underage?
Yes, she was underage.
Right.
And someone slipped into a DM and started speaking inappropriately.
Right.
Even after being informed or knowing that the person was underage.
Oh, wow.
And it would have resulted, as I say, that and it's not about victim blaming or anything like that. A lot of people share things online about their lives and so forth, but they gotta be careful.
Yeah,
Indeed. Because minors, in my lectures, in our lectures actually, we go to schools, etc. Some of these young children, young girls actually have over 10,000 followers on TikTok, etc. And they are content creators at 15, 16. What is that?
Yeah.
So this podcast is really relevant to what is happening outside there in Trinidad and Tobago, and to advise the members of the public and children and young persons who are guilty of oversharing, just to peel back a little bit, because eventually whatever we put on the internet doesn't really come off, and eventually when you get big, right, you want to be a Coast Guard or a member of the police service, and these organizations do background checks, vetting checks, and they use social media. Even now, the U.S. to get a U.S. student visa, right, you have to make sure that your social media accounts are made public. So that's a major issue there. So maintaining that positive digital footprint is important for persons out there, especially young children.
But what about people who aren't children? Because I'm sure that there are many adults who are guilty of oversharing and putting themselves in sometimes compromising positions.
We at the Cyber and Social Media Unit received a report, so to speak, from a popular media personality who is a content creator, and she was sharing mostly everything, birthdays, at events, etc. And one day while at work, one of our followers bypassed security protocol, bypassed everybody to reach her office with cake and
oh my gosh,
balloons, etc. right? So, and she was so shocked because she felt that her space was being violated now, her digital space and now her physical space by this fan or follower coming into her office. So she communicated with us and we advised her accordingly. We made the reports and we assisted the relevant agency on how to move forward with the investigation.
But something like that, would that person who breached that barrier, breached security, are they guilty of anything in terms of a crime? Could they be charged for anything?
But it doesn't border harassment, but however, it is more or less an invasion of your physical space, right? So it's not really a crime, so to speak, but you would apprehend some type of shock or fear, right? But no, but she was advised on how to proceed with the matter with the police.
Yeah, that situation is sort of one-off. Right? If it goes into the aspect of harassment and stalking, it has to be multiple times. If you have observed this person in your vicinity often or at odd times and so forth, it could go on the aspect of stalking and harassment and so forth.
You know, it's interesting you should mention that because I too had a similar experience. And as I said, I am a content creator, and sometimes I put my number, my email address out there. Yes, my phone number, which is what got me in trouble in this particular instance. Right now, quite apart from being a content creator, you know, I do my little side hustle. I'm trying to make this extra cash. So my number was on my Instagram profile. And I remember one night I got a DM from somebody I did not know. Some guy I didn't know slipped into my DMs and, you know, sending me some messages. I didn't know him, so I ignored the message. And not too long after that, I got a message on WhatsApp from the same person asking me why I was ignoring them, what did they ever do to me? I was very stunned because I really felt like, you know, I don't know if in the minds of persons, they feel like there's this invisible border between the big grand internet of like Instagram and Facebook, and then there's your little community of WhatsApp. It feels like somebody has left the city and come into your town looking for you. Yeah. Wow. And it feels almost like a violation of your space.
Yeah, it is.
So honestly, that spooked me. And from there, I blocked the person on all platforms. And then I took my number off of social media.
Why did you go to the lengths to block them on all platforms?
Because I didn't want them to talk to me again. I felt like, you know, if they could breach and be so bold as to ask me, why did you block, why did you ignore me? Sir, you have no idea what I'm doing, where I am. You know, so to demand my time or demand of me without having any idea who I am or what I'm doing, I found that to be very brazen of him to do something like that. Right? And so it led me to remove my number. So if people have to get in touch, they could just message me in the DMs or send me an email. I feel more comfortable with that. So I could completely understand, even though what that person did in my DMs and what that person did to that media personality who found that person at their job, while it may not be a crime, so to speak, or an offense where they could be charged or arrested, it does feel scary. And it does feel like it's the beginning of something that could, you know, eventually develop into something more dangerous.
And that was just one person, could have been others, you know, and this person has many thousands of followers.
What comes in key there is segmenting your life, you know. Yes, you may be a content creator, but keeping that aspect, yes, that may be public, but your private life, that connection to your private life, and in your case, you would have put up your number.
Yes.
So that is your connection to your private life there.
Is she guilty of oversharing?
I would think so. What you could have done, still share a number, but that is for that business purpose only, not mix it in with that is your personal number as well.
Yes,
you know?
That's true. Well, you know, of course, we had to ask people on the street what they thought. So in this segment of Streetwise, we asked people about how much they share on social media, and this is what they had to say.
I don't share a lot. I share my name, my date of birth, and a profile picture. And why I don't share a lot? I don't share a lot because you get stalkers on social media.
Well, I don't share much information on social media, but the ones that I do share is for like family and friends. Yeah, but it's basically like my name, my date of birth. But I kind of share a little bit, but it's more for family and friends. I don't really want the public to see much of my information for safety reasons.
I use social media very, very rarely, and if I were to use it, I would not share much of my information online personally, because I don't want to compromise my safety or address or any sort. If I were to share information, it would be about games I've played or clips that I would like to submit for the world to see. Some of my best moments in games, personally.
When I use social media, I don't share much private information. I normally screen the information I post. So if there's a posting a picture of myself or family members, I would look to see where I am. If I'm posting a picture with, I get permission as well to see what it is I could post, what I can't post. I look at the background information. For example, if there's a picture of my vehicle, I blur the number plate and stuff like that. So I'm very aware of the information that I post, and I try not to post too much public information. It's mainly for people who I have as friends who could see it.
How much do I share on social media? Before, I used to share a fair amount, and with more information coming out about safety, online safety, I've shared less since then. So, yeah, I'd say a fair amount.
Honestly, I try not to share too much information. I try to keep it as limited as possible. So basic stuff like my name, if needed, my date of birth, but I usually try to offset it by a day or two. And then my phone number, if and only if that's needed. I have a kind of placebo email address that I use for platforms so that I don't get too much spam in my actual email address that I use for other purposes. Yeah.
Well, I don't really share much of my private information on the socials anymore. Back when I was younger, when it now started off, I used to share a lot of things like which part I went and stuff like that. So now I create content for more amusement. So I have my TikTok account, so it's more amusement, and anything on Facebook is just like anniversary and stuff like that, which is already there. And that's just the basic information that I share.
So that was our Streetwise segment. So, gentlemen, clearly we see a lot of people say that they don't share a whole lot, right? Now, and that whole lot, or that not whole lot, is their name, their date of birth, and their picture.
Right.
But I have a feeling that you will tell me that that is still a lot. So tell me what you think about that.
That is the foundation for the house there. So just getting that, you could figure out what is the windows, where is the doors for the house. Just simply getting someone's proper government name.
Yeah.
And that date of birth could send you verifying, gain certain information about that person. Wow. So it's not about going fake, as I mentioned before, having that separation of if you are influencer, or if you're a public figure, you have that, but in terms of your private things are going direct, like you want to limit that to probably close friends and family, right. Not public, not open to the public as information.
Yeah.
And you see what's also important, what I view there, is that you can create a fake account because you have your picture, name, date of birth, and persons don't realize that once you post something online on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and you say you delete it, I think one of the guys said that, yeah, he posted a long time, but what you put out there does not really come off. When you register for a social media account, and there are some guidelines to just go and click agree. Do you agree, yes or no? What you're really agreeing, and it's like 100 pages or something to agree on.
Most people don't read that.
So yeah, most people don't read it, so you just click agree.
Yeah.
So that means that whatever the social media platform can use your data for third parties or create something else.
Yeah.
So those things have to be really, really careful what information you have. I have a professional link. I'm on LinkedIn, a professional LinkedIn account. I only put professional stuff, but I was really wild on social media back then because I joined Facebook in 2009.
Yes.
So I have.
Back in the Stone Age of Facebook.
Yeah, I have many pictures there that still remain. I think that still remain. If I do a download of my history, I could get it. But I was really wild, right? Like most people. But persons have to maintain a healthy cyber hygiene as well as a proper digital footprint.
Yeah.
Meaning, it must be positive. We're seeing how the world is right now, where social media behavior is collapsing. Everybody's online saying what they want on social media, but we have to maintain a pretty decent digital footprint.
Some decorum be the mirror,
Yes. Be mindful.
You have to be mindful.
But you know what? I don't want people to feel as though we are scaring people, because we live in a digital world.
Correct.
People are going to be online. And for content creators whose bread and butter is them being online, you know, I want to strike a balance between being visible online while being safe.
Correct.
So how could people strike a balance between those two things?
Right. So I like the term striking a balance.
Yeah.
And although being an ethical hacker, right? I scour the old social media to collect information. And striking a balance meaning that be careful what you post, like your address. I think one of you guys spoke about blowing his vehicle number. That's very good. And as well, one of the person talked about she has an email that to reduce spam, etc. Right? So striking a balance, give them piecemeal of what you can share outside there, not too personal. I really dislike seeing persons, members of the public, share pictures of their children. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I don't really share that outside there. I know the dangers of doing that. So try to peel back from doing those type of things. Your wife, your granny, etc. As you said in the opening, you're traveling to New York, etc., France. Try to peel back on that, because as predators, as Marvin spoke about, the most vulnerable young persons, the elderly, fall victim to scams, etc. So we have to peel back and strike that balance of what you want the public to see and what you want your family to see.
Keep private, and that is because simple as your name, date of birth, and so forth, I could create a clone of you.
And that's so easy now in the age of AI.
You may not be the victim, but your friends and family victim.
And that's what we are seeing as well. People make just recently a former president. And you could talk about that issue there.
And that goes into where his video, his image was using something we call a deep fake, right? And it was speaking on some investment and so forth. So when you see that coming from a former president, you had a confidence that, that thing. But that just brought from a simple video that I could have find online. So just imagine when you share personal information, there are even deep fakes out there that where persons could manipulate the clothing on you, and stuff like that. And just as you say, it's not really about getting too paranoid about the thing. You have your safe internet usage and so forth. Post what you need to post, but keep it separate from your public to your private life. And you also as an individual have to expect certain risks.
The internet is very public.
So you assume certain risk once you post.
Yes.
So anything to do with your vacation, so instead of posting online that you are traveling to New York and you are leaving your home vulnerable, you could probably just share that with your close friends and family.
Or share it afterwards, not in the meantime. Back in the day, home, the friendly neighborhood housebreaker would go around the neighborhood looking to see, and make observations if that person is usually putting that light in the night, but hold it on for 2 days straight. All right, let me go and break. You understand? They go on social media now, they go on the internet, see you have posted, hey, I'll be traveling from the 1st of August to the 31st. So they have a big window there to make the observations, and he's no longer a friendly neighborhood breaker, but he might be a very savvy internet person that would use it.
Right. And what about people who said that they used to share, because I know you mentioned that you were very wild.
Yeah, I was wild,
So you used to share, but you don't share as much anymore. I kind of feel like, so sometimes I see these Facebook memories come up on my timeline and I'm cringing like, why did I share that in 2010, So for those people who used to share, they don't share anymore, could they remove some of the things from their profile?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You could go in and as the corporal mentioned in terms of cyber hygiene. So
Yes.
you could go in and clean the same way you would go into a kitchen area, wipe down the table. This area had a little dirt.
Right.
You know, you could go in and sanitize your social media account.
Right.
You know, based on your newfound knowledge in watching this podcast.
Okay.
You know, I could go even further, right? We get a lot of calls from persons, spouses, married couples, boyfriend and girlfriend, and everything you're posting up online, Instagram, Facebook. But as soon as the relationship turn sideways, everything open, as I say, open sepulchre.
Right.
They take your images and they share it with family members, etc. They post it on particular websites.
Right.
And so my advice to those members of the public who have those, who have experienced that, as I said, finding a balance, not everything you have to share about your relationship outside there. Right?
Yeah, that sort of revengeful act.
Yes.
In sharing that. And that is sort of ironic to our discussion in sharing things publicly, but sometimes persons overshare privately as well too.
Yes, that's true. I guess we have to have a whole separate
of
episode
course.
to discuss that.
Yes.
So as we, bring this one to a close, guys, final thoughts on this particular topic in terms of oversharing. What is your number one piece of advice? Each of you could give your number one piece of advice in terms of managing what you share on social media and online.
Yes, things in the actual reality, physical space that you will not share with a stranger that you know on the street, don't share it online. Simple. That's probably the hard on. But in terms of you being, let me say, having a public life, an influencer, a podcaster, you want to keep that life separate from your private life. Try to minimize that connection in terms of there.
Yeah, just for me, key takeaway is just to maintain that balance of what is, just as what Marvin said, what is meant for public, digest, and then after for private. We are all social beings, and having good cyber hygiene is important. I know that I said I was wild. I'm now starting to peel back and
not so wild, getting tame.
And add some photographs to of making it professional.
Yes.
So maintain a good digital footprint online. Yeah.
Okay. So did we share enough for you in this episode? If you would like to see more, go to the TTPS YouTube channel and subscribe to this podcast right now. Or if you want to listen on the go, listen to us via Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And remember, Trinidad and Tobago, don't just stay safe, stay socially safe.